I'm happy with it. We brought this thing home yesterday from the auction just outside of Chicago. It's Morris, Illinois, at the Ritchie Brothers auction yard, and we loaded it up and brought it home. And this is really the first time I've had a chance to really look it over. I bought this thing sight unseen at the auction. I did the online auction, and I chose not to drive the 6-7 hours down to personally inspect it. I looked at one of this same model at another auction yard about an hour from me, and I liked what I saw on this particular make and model. That particular auction went higher than I wanted to bid, but I was confident enough that Ritchie Brothers offering a brand new one of the same model would be suitable for my needs. So I bid accordingly, and here I have it. Now, I want to show you a couple of the things that caused me to choose this over some of the other ones. One was the fact that the canopy is supported by just 2 posts. One less thing to bang my elbows on as I'm getting up on it. You can see that that extra set of bars coming up to the front of the canopy would just be in my way. I'm kind of a big guy, and I just do not have that extra obstruction. I don't know why these things are showing up at auctions like they are, but one of the downsides to buying at an auction is that you're never sure. I mean, right here, that obviously took some hits. Probably during shipping, the paint is scratched right off, and it's already rusted along here, and where the paint is chipped off right there, it's rusted. The powder coat is off of that, so that was damaged at some point. So I don't know if that's a artifact of being on the auction site, or if that's one of the reasons why. I don't know if that was damaged in shipping, but that, in my opinion, if that's why I got this thing for the incredible low price that I got it, I'm all for it, man. That's a good sacrificial bar right there. And so far, that's the only thing I'm seeing that I would call lot damage or shipping damage. Okay, things I like about this. Notice on the back here, these hydraulic lines, they go inside the boom, and they're protected completely inside until they come out down here. Most of the other models I've seen on the market, they've got the hoses just laying along the back side of this, and it's better than having them hanging out on the front side, but these are tucked in there and out of the harm's way all the way down there. Not only that, but these hoses already have the guards on them. These have hose protectors on all of these hoses. See down here, coming out up here. These are also inside the boom. These plastic things, some of the owners have said that it's really hard to get these off, but as it turns out, the pretty effective way to get it off is to leave it there and drive for 7 hours with it flapping in the breeze. Simple as that. It completely loosened it up, but it didn't come off and create litter. Now, what do we got under here? Yeah, there's my hydraulic tank. And it's got an overflow style cap. It's got the sintered brass pellet in there so that dirt can't get in, but you see around the holes here, if overfill comes into play, it will go out there and then shower around these holes and out onto the top of the tank, rather than blowing out a line somewhere or blowing out the tank if you have it over full and you pull in a cylinder, that fluid's got to go somewhere. So that style cap gives it some place to go. What's this one over here? Oh, battery. That's nice. Yeah. There's a little bit, I would call that damage. That has been dented in and bumped back out. You can tell that. But again, if what we're seeing at the auction yards are units that had some sort of a shipping damage, then I'm 100% in favor of the auctioning, because the auction process, because that's the kind of stuff. I'll tell you what, if you're going to sweat a dent or two on the sheet metal on these things, you better leave it in your garage and not use it, because you're going to be denting it. And I kind of like not being the first one to put a dent on this pretty little machine. All right, so leading down into here, okay, that's locked. So here's the crazy thing about this. Look at that. The hood comes open on this thing. Is that not cool? One of the concerns that I've read about these things is that to change the oil or to do anything on the engine, even access the pull start if your battery happens to die, you got to take screws off of sheet metal panels and burrow your way in there to get into it. This right here, this one feature, in my mind, well, that and one other thing I'm about to show you, are enough to choose this over anything else on the market, in my opinion, in this price range. And I'll go ahead and I'll tell you, my high bid on this was $4,000. There were 7 of them just like this in the auction, and the high bid ranged from $4,000 to I think there was a $5,250. The bid increments at that range were $250. So this was at $3,750. I bid the $4,000 mark. Nobody outbid me. So of all the ones that got auctioned on that particular day that were identical units to this, I got the low bid of the day, the low price of the day. And that was $4,000. Now they're Ritchie Brothers, if you look into it, they charge buyer's premiums and there's taxes. But I'm all in at under $5,000 on this unit, and I just couldn't be happier with that price. And this right here, this is a big deal in my mind, having that hood that actually opens up. The other huge issue is right over here on the side. One of the things that everybody on every forum I've read says about these little buggers is they tend to really heat up the hydraulic fluid. And one of the things that they said you're going to want to do right away, like before you put hours on it, is to put a hydraulic cooler and a cooling fan. And look at what this baby has on it from the factory. It's got a great big hydraulic radiator and about I'm going to say that's a 7-inch fan right there, 80-watt electric fan. That is the biggest factor that drove me to buy this one, to bid on this one instead of the other models. I have been visiting China at a business level, traveled over there many times, going back well over 20 years, and the improvements during that time have been phenomenal, and I don't have any reservations whatsoever about buying something like this that's coming out of China. So that's what I've got to say about that. Let's check that oil while we're down here. Yeah, it's just ready to spill out there, which is exactly where you want it to be. And I'm going to leave that break-in oil in there for a while before I do the first change on it. This has got quite a heavy-duty cast iron counterweight on the back of it here. Fuel tank is underneath the lid there. All right, so that's going to be a little tricky. I'm not going to be able to pour out of my 5-gallon tank into that. I'm going to have to get one of those tanks that has the pump on it, so I can actually pump gas into this thing, because I don't, unless I use like a little 1/2-gallon red can, I'm not going to be able to tip much up into there. That's okay, I can deal with that. Nice. The light. Oh, ho, ho, that's my cooling fan. Isn't that something? Now let's see if that, okay, that is wired in. Do the battery disconnect. Got a blank spot in case I want to add another switch. And look at there, we've got heat shielding to keep the heat from this unit off of my backside. There is a screw, or there is a nut missing on that I see, nut in the washer, vibrated off somewhere. Those are, what are those, 6mm maybe? Let me see if I, nah, those, let's see, these look like 8s, these look like 6s. And that's loose. That needs a washer and a nut. I'm going to see if I got a 6mm. If you're going to own one of these, I'm sure you've already got one of these metric nut and bolt assortments. Now this particular bolt was laying loose on the deck of my trailer. These are all loose. These had quite a bit of vibration going on the way home, so that doesn't surprise me. This top was just singing in the breeze. Oh, and regarding these grease fittings, you notice some of these are the style that we're used to seeing, the Zerk fittings. Some of them are these, the needle style. The reason that that is like that is that this is right out there where it's going to be banging on dirt and rocks as you're digging, and it's more likely to bust off, so they use the needle style on that. Ah yeah, the toolbox. I had set this in the back of the pickup truck. Let's see what kind of goodies are in this. Got a manual. Oh my gosh. Wet. Oh, it's not just wet. Uh-oh. Look at that. My toolbox is half full of water. And my, oh man, my owner's manuals are just soaking wet. Oh, that's a bummer. I'm going to have to try to dry those out. Spark plug wrench. Oh, hey, look at that. You know what that is? This is the needle fitting for the style of grease fittings that are on this. It's good to find that. Anything else? I think that's it. Yeah. I don't know if that's going to be salvageable or not. I have to let that dry out. I'm not sure if these things are available online. So if this kind of stuff rocks your world, you probably should find a dealer in the US that's selling these things, rather than take the deal at an auction where you have some unknowns like this and some surprises and a little bit of work to do. And I'll need, next thing I'll be doing before I use it is just going around and greasing up all these joints, because some of them look quite dry as they sit, which makes sense. They don't want grease warming up in a hot shipping container and dripping all over everything and making a mess. So it doesn't surprise me. You know what I'm not seeing is any hydraulic leaks since I took this thing off the trailer not quite 24 hours ago. I like this thing. I'm liking this a lot. So if you're a do-it-yourself kind of person, this is right up your alley. I know that's where I'm at with this. If I was averse to having to tighten some screws and replace some nuts and dry out some user's manuals, and I wouldn't buy from an auction. The auction comes with some surprises. But I'll tell you what, man, the value that I got for this thing is, I think is huge. I'm not at all disappointed. There's the thought of buying a John Deere or a Kubota or a Bobcat, a Mini Excavator, it never entered my mind as a possibility. I would see them from time to time and think, wow, man, that would be really handy around here. I was actually strongly considering getting a compact backhoe, and I stumbled onto these. And this opens up a whole new market of potential owners like myself that simply aren't in the market, and they're never going to be in the market for the high-end name brand stuff. So how many hours would this thing have to keep running for me before I felt like I got a good deal? I was this close to renting one, and it was going to be, the time I rented a trailer and went and got it, $400 for a day, for a 24-hour period. So all in, I'm at $5,000 on this. So give it a little fudge room. Anything over 300 hours on this end is completely gravy. I'm not sure what other math has to be figured into that. The cost of renting one versus what I paid for this. If I run 300 hours on this, I'm home free for the rest of the time I own it. I can't wait to make some more videos of me moving dirt and stuff around with this thing. We burn a lot of wood all winter, and we cut it off of our own woods. And the older I get, the less I like picking up those logs. I mean, I can still carry out an 8-foot elm on one on each shoulder. You've probably seen that in a video, but I don't have to now. I can take this thing out there, and that mechanical grapple, just grab logs all day long and carry them back out to the trail where I can cut them up and put them in the wood trailer. Even if I never ended up moving any dirt, this thing is going to be useful to me cutting firewood. But I will be moving dirt. And you're probably going to want to see it, so be sure to subscribe, and also like, comment, and share. That's the only way the algorithm knows what videos are worth watching and which ones aren't. So if you've watched it this long, it must have been at least a little bit interesting. So click on those buttons accordingly and let the algorithm know that maybe this isn't a bad video to push out to other people who may also enjoy it. Thanks a lot for watching. TFO channel out.